Hey, how are you? I'm Miriam from Metal Hammer, Spain.
I love Spain.
Yeah. So, how are you? First
I'm
thing,
doing I'm doing well, doing very well. How are you?
I'm fine. First thing, congratulations on your upcoming album release, of course.
Thank
And
you.
when I want to start with a essential question.
Mhm.
After all these years as such a recognizable career, why was this the right moment to release your first solo album?
That's a good question. I we had the downtime, Skid Row is my life, and I've been doing it for so long and it I see the guys more than I see my family sometimes. And so it is your life when you're in a band that it's the same story for a lot of guys, but we had this downtime. I write songs just about every day. At least I try to, whether it's good, bad, whatever. And I had some songs compiled that just weren't right for Skid Row. So we had this downtime and I talked to my friend Nick who produced the record and he's like, we should do a solo record. You live right down the street. Let's do a solo record. Come to my studio. And I was like, well, let's see if the label wants to do a solo record. And they said yes. And in the meantime, I moved 800 miles away back to New Jersey, so I had to fly down to Nick's house to record the to record the record. But it I don't know why it took this long, and that's what everyone keeps asking me, but I don't really have an answer other than now I had the time to do it. And so I just write and whatever my influences come out and I just write where I don't have to write for a band. Um, and doing it myself for the most part, it's a really cool experience, and I have a lot of influence that people don't even know I have, like new wave and British pop from like the 60s and 70s. Where I'm the fourth out of four kids, so all the music that was around the house influenced me in one way or another. So little bits and pieces, whether it's a part of a bass line that sounds like Devo or a vocal thing that sounds like Generation X or something like that. That's how it comes out. And just I did so much of the stuff myself that you can tell the person is me, when you hear it, all the influences come out.
So, about the title, Gargoyle of the Garden State, what does it mean to you exactly? Can you explain us?
Yeah. So I moved back to New Jersey, which is my home state, and that's known as the Garden State. So um gargoyles, which I love. I have them all over the house, and they all serve a purpose, but no one really knows what. But they each do stand for something different. So at times, like personally, I just kind of felt like a gargoyle, like, yeah, he serves a purpose, but we're not sure what it is, type of thing, right? And so that because I was going to call the album just Gargoyle. I was thinking about just calling it that. And I was like, that really is kind of boring. So I added the Garden State because I came back and it's like, okay, it was a homecoming type of thing, and being back, I reconnected with friends. And so, it's pretty cool. I feel like putting out a solo record now, I serve a purpose,
I
like a
agree, it's pretty cool.
gargoyle.
Yes. So let's talk about At War with Myself with
Mhm.
Tatanko Jones. There is already a very direct energy on this song. Is this the song that the best describes the album?
I would say so. All the stuff is pretty high energy. It's again, it's my influences, and I've always liked faster songs. Not saying I don't like slow songs, but the faster, high energy stuff, I guess, just kind of fits my personality and fits my wiring because I grew up listening to punk and all the faster
Mhm.
up tempo songs were my favorites. So yeah, I would say that this pretty much sets the listener up to hear the record. Choruses, big choruses, high energy, and having Danko on there. I was so glad he said yes when I hit him up. I was like, "You want to sing on a song with me?" He's like, "Yep." I go, "Where are you?" He's like, he was in Europe somewhere on tour. he goes, I got 2 days off when I get back to Canada, then I got to hit the road again. I go, okay, cool. So he recorded his vocals up in Toronto and then sent them to us in Nashville. And it worked out perfect. And like when I wrote that song, I was just going to sing it on my own. And I'm like, man, it would sound so cool with his voice as a contrast. Because our
Mm.
voices are similar, but he's got that like oh like where that imposing vibe to his voice, and I think I thought that would be really cool. I'm really happy with the way it came out, and he came down and did the video, which was great. We had so much fun that day.
So tell me about the composition. Did the songs start with a riff, maybe with a bass line or melodies, riff? How do you work composing?
Um, I don't really have a set like formula or routine how I do it. It depends if there's a bass sitting in the guitar stand within reach, or if there's an acoustic, or if there's an electric, whatever. Whatever's in reach, I pick up. And, sometimes I'll just have a melody in my head. And, thankfully the phone has those voice notes now, so I don't have to carry around a little tape recorder. And so I'll just put it on there, and then I'll come home and I'll try and write around it. But I don't really have any technique or any sort of
Steps.
routine. It just kind of whatever comes to me comes to me. Sometimes I'll just sit in my studio and I'll get a drum beat going, and I'll just listen to it for a while and pick something up, and hopefully a riff will come out of that. And that happens with skid stuff too, but with this record, that's that happened a lot actually with this record. Same
Mhm.
drum beat.
And how do you know when a song is musically finished?
Um, yeah, I guess it's a feel thing. Um, the, it's funny. I learned to trust myself a lot with doing this record because I did so much stuff on my own. I don't have, the guys here to go, what do you think of this part? And rely and lean on those guys for opinions and stuff. So I'll do a bunch of stuff and be like, okay, arrangement sounds right. The length of the song seems right. The chorus is there. And then the last phase is when I go into the studio and working with Nick, producing the record. He is such a fan of music and he's so smart with like stuff. I think you should add another chorus, or let's do this. And when we were doing some of the songs, I would just be strumming a guitar or playing a guitar while we're listening to playback. I'm like, hey, what if we put this part? And he's always open to anything. It's like, let's get it on there, let's record it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we don't put it in the mix. So working like that, I think a song, but is a song ever really done? I don't know. But once you get to that point where it's like, okay, I think anything more and you're going to lose the feel of what you're looking for. That's when you get to that point, that's when you have to say, okay, this is done. This is done. No more other stuff. This is done here. And I like to keep things simple. I'm a simple person. Like I like things simple. I like things honest. I like things raw. That's why I played so much stuff myself, because like, yes, there's a million guys better than me on guitar, but I don't know if that would have added to the feel if everything was absolute and perfect. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because
Did that
I'm
give
a,
you-
what's
Sorry,
that?
sorry. No, I was asking you if did that give you more freedom to play all the instruments by your own, or did
Yeah, yeah. It definitely gave it freedom. Yeah.
maybe
It,
felt to
and
work harder? I don't
Yeah, and it was just really honest and really me. I wouldn't try playing guitar on a Skid Row record because I play with two of the best guitar players in the world. I'm not going to try and play guitar on that. So I just wanted me to come through on these songs. So that's why I played most of the guitars. I only did two solos, and they're my style of solos. They're not, Scotty Snake or Nuno type solos or Damon Johnson. Damon Johnson did so many of the solos on the record, and he crushed it. Everybody did. But yeah, so that kind of stuff I'll leave up to the professionals. Me, I'll do what I do, you know.
Mhm, I know. So with such a diverse set of collaborators from, I don't know if I can say, because I'm the luckiest one that I already listened to your album, but from
Oh,
Corey Taylor or Uno Betancourt, etc. Did you choose them to fit a specific songs, or did the songs come first and then you found the right voices or for each one?
the songs came first. And then I knew I wanted to like right from the start. I knew I wanted to have my friends involved because that's what you do. You know, you want to have your friends involved to make a fun experience even more fun. So um, I had like for the song with Corey Taylor, we grew up listening to the same type of punk rock. And so before I even sent them the song, I said, "Would you be up for singing a song on my solo record?" And he's like, "Absolutely. Just let me know when, where, whatever." And I go, "Well, listen to the song first." He goes, "No." He goes, "I'm saying yes right now." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so I sent it to him, and he's like, "I love this song. It's great." I said, "Okay, I'll be out in Vegas in a week. We'll record it." And of course, he spent about 45 minutes because he's that good. And he recorded the track in about 45 minutes, and then we talked about punk rock for another hour, because we had the studio for 3 hours. Um, so yeah, and it was cool to hang out and whatnot. And it was the same with Danko. Like I had that song written and I had the vocals. I did the vocals on the demo myself, but I was like, man, the contrast between our two voices would be really cool. And the guitar, the solos, I did the same thing. I'm like, man, Scotty would sound really cool on this song, Nuno, this and that. And that's the songs were all written, and I just kind of guessed and just kind of imagined, what it would sound like with those guys playing or singing on it. And that's how that all worked.
After 4 decades in music, what is harder now? Surprising the audience or surprising yourself?
Um, so they're both pretty difficult. It's hard to surprise myself, although the trust I gained in myself making this record, as far as not second guessing things and overthinking things, that was a big surprise. But um, surprising others, I think, is really hard, especially after, like you said, after 40 years to come up with something new that people wouldn't expect. Um, I try not to think about it too much because then it kind of becomes a hurdle when I write songs, you know.
Mm. No? So tell me, if this album were a real place in New Jersey, as you say, imagine at 3 in the morning, what would we see? What would be playing in the background? Tell me,
At
and
three, 3 in the morning here,
yes?
um, what would be playing in the background? Well, if it wasn't Family Guy, because it seems I have Family Guy on 24 hours a day.
I don't know,
Yeah,
something elegant, decadent, dangerous. Imagine the scene
the
of the
scene.
movie.
Okay, at 3 o'clock in the morning here. Um, I probably have vinyl going through my vinyl collection. It could be anything. It could be something. It could be Murphy's Law, or it could be Boz Scaggs. It depends on what mood hits me. But I love listening to vinyl, and that is like one of my favorite things to do. And I have it in the bar of my house. So I'll go make a cocktail. Depending on what I'm listening to, it could be a beer and a shot, or it could be a martini. It depends on what I'm listening to. Um, but yeah, that usually goes on late night.
Mhm. Let's keep imagine if your late 80s self could hear this album, this record today, what do you think would surprise him the most?
Wow. Um, that I'm actually doing it, that it actually happened, because it's like phase two of a dream come true, right? Okay, so phase one, get in a band, start a band, write a bunch of songs, become a success, tour the world, see places that you never imagined seeing, like going to Spain, going to Italy, going to the UK, just these far off fantasy worlds that you think of when you're a little kid. When and then you get to do it. And you get to do it for 40 years. And then phase two, a solo record that kind of came along unexpected. It's always been in the back of my mind, but it kind of came along unexpectedly. And now here we are anticipating the release of it in a couple months. And it's just, it's blowing my mind, actually. It's like when we first announced it, um, I was sitting here, I was at home by myself. I was down in the studio and I'm just, the video and the single came out and I'm reading the comments and I'm like, oh my God, so many people really, really like it. And it made me feel so good that I can't even describe how good I felt. Like, and I was just sitting there going, wow. Because to be honest, like I have been somewhat of a pariah, because everyone thinks everything wrong with Skid Row, if there is stuff wrong in other people's eyes, is because of me. And I'm like, whatever, but like I'm seeing all this positive feedback and I don't pay attention to numbers, but my managers do. And they're like, do you see how many, followers and how many it is? I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. I'm like, I'm just blown away about the positive reaction to just that one song. And yeah, to say I didn't get a little weepy would be a lie because I was like, holy shit, I can't believe the reaction to this. And it made me feel really good. And I wish everyone on the face of the planet could feel that good, at least for a couple seconds in their life.
Oh, could be great. So when release day arrives, June the 12th, what part excites you the most? And what part also makes you more nervous?
Um, the part that excites me the most is it's finally going to be out, because we started this over a year ago. And like the whole process, it was well over a year ago. And all the hard work that was put in by everybody, and working, you know, having my friends there, uh, working so hard as a favor to me. Um, when it's finally out and people finally get the whole record, I'm really curious to see what they think of the body of work, you know. Um, there was a second part to your question, and I started rambling. What was the second part of the question?
I think you answered the first one, the part that makes you more nervous. But what excites you more? It's like,
Okay, yeah, it's kind of hand in hand. It's like a little from column A, a little from column B, because the excitement is the nervousness. And I would say if you're not nervous about something, you're not excited about something. And I like the nerves that I get with the anticipation of the record coming out. I love the spirit of knowing it could go really good or it could go really bad. But yeah, I'm really excited about. I'm feeling pretty positive about it. Um, I think people are going to really like the record, and I'm really proud of the record. I'm really proud of what everyone did on the record, and I'm psyched. I just wanted to get out. I just want June 12th to get here. You know what I mean?
only 2 months more.
I
Maybe.
know.
So are you planning to tour with this album?
I would like to, of course everything is working around Skid Row and what ever happens with us within the next the rest of the year. But yeah, that's the plan. I'd like to at least do a few shows, or maybe get on a tour, a cool tour. But yeah, the plan is to get out and do a bunch of shows.
And who is going to share the stage with you? You have any?
Well, I know Rob Hammersmith, uh, who plays in Skid Row, and he played on the album. He played drums on the record. I know him for sure because we'll have the same schedule. But there's guys that want to do it that are in other bands, so you're always competing with their schedules. But we'll work something out. And the logistics between this record and Skid Row, that's easier to work out.
And since you recorded all the instruments, which one are you choosing to play on stage? Bass?
Probably bass. I'll
Yeah,
probably play
sure.
bass. Yeah,
Or maybe you change the different songs. You
yeah, my friend suggested that actually. He's like, you can always switch it up. And I was thinking, wouldn't that look weird? But then I remember seeing Paul McCartney do that. So I'm like, if Paul McCartney could do that, awesome. He kept switching around, he played bass
maybe a
and then
different one in each city. Yeah, something like that.
yeah, you're an idea person.
It's very creative.
You're
I
very
recommend.
creative. You'll be my creative consultant.
Yeah, hire me, please. So, I have to ask you this because if not, the readers will kill me. What about Skid Row and the search of the singer? And can you tell us plans for the future?
Well, we're still searching. We have a couple guys that we're focused on, but we're taking our time. We're taking our time because we have that luxury right now. We don't have any tour set up. We're not in the midst of doing a record. Everything in the past, we had to make split decisions. And so we have the luxury now not to have to make a split decision. So in the meantime, we're writing and compiling songs because I know as soon as we find someone, things are going to happen fast. We're going to start playing again and start recording again. So that's where we're at right now, but we're just taking our time.
Okay. So now, rapid fire questions, okay?
Mhm.
Think quick and answer as soon as you can.
Okay.
One word for this album.
Pride.
A song on this record you would love to play in a tiny, dirty club.
Devil in the White.
What has more attitude, New Jersey or this album?
Wait, what?
What has more attitude, New Jersey or this
Oh,
album?
well, New Jersey's a lot bigger than this album, but this album is pretty packed with attitude.
Okay. You prefer studio or stage?
Stage.
Okay. Tell me one guest on the album who brought you something you did not expect.
Scotty Hill.
Okay. If this record were a movie, would it be a thriller, a road movie, science fiction? I don't know.
I think it would be like a John Waters movie, like something like that. It could also be a Michael Bay movie too.
Okay. And tell me one word for Bolan.
Uh, True.
Okay, perfect. So that's all. Just before we say goodbye, if you can send a message for the Spanish Metal Hammer readers, please.
A message for you guys is thank you for being there for all these years, for 40, yeah, close to 40 years, I guess. And now with my new journey with my solo project, I appreciate all the positive feedback and hopefully see you guys really soon. Eat some paella.
Yes, we wait for you here in Spain, huh?
All right.
Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure to meet
Thanks,
you.
Miriam. I appreciate it.
Bye bye. Thank you.